Okay, we've done this before. It's going to be on working out the area and circumference of circles. And there's a little bit of a lag, so I'll just keep an eye on things. I think you can see it now. So I'm just going to go over the basics. We've done this before in first form, but it's an important topic and it's worth recapping this before we move on to some trickier stuff with circles. So area and circumference of circles. So the first thing I'm going to do is just to remind you of the real basics. So we've got three lengths, okay? The radius is the length from the outside of the circle to the middle. That's the one in red. The diameter is the length from one side of the circle through the center to the other side. And you can see that the diameter is twice as big as the radius. So if you've got the radius and you need to work out the diameter, then double it. If you've got the diameter, but then you need the radius, then halve it. And you will be needing to move between the two. And then our third length is the circumference. That's the length all the way around the outside of the circle. So it's the perimeter of the circle, but it's got a special word for it. It's called the circumference. Okay, now there are two key formulae that you need to learn. Okay, one allows you to work out the circumference, and the other allows you to work out the area. So there you are, you can see them on the screen. So if you need to work out the circumference, please start off by writing down C equals pi times D. So C is the circumference, D is the diameter. And remember, pi is just a number. It's just a number just a bit bigger than 3. And it's on your calculator down at the middle as a second function one. So if you look at your calculator, go right down to the bottom row, the middle key, you'll see it just there as a second function option. Okay. So, so circumference equals pi times diameter. If you need to work out the area, then you use the formula on the right, where area equals pi r squared. So remember what r squared is. That's the radius times the radius itself. Now you do need to learn both of these formulae. So I suggest just the little, just this little rhyme. So cottage pie is delicious. Okay, C pi d, and then apple pies are too. All right, cottage pies delicious, apple pies are too. So I think just play that rhyme over in your head as you're trying to remember what the two formulae are. And just be careful not to muddle them up. Okay, hopefully you would eat cottage pie before the apple pie. So it goes in the order that you would eat them. Okay, you would eat cottage pie before apple pie. So that's why it's that way around. So cottage pie is delicious, apple pies are too. Okay, so we've mentioned that pi is a number just a bit bigger than 3. And all I want to do now is just to model the various questions that could come up. And then I will let you get on with it. And what I think I'll do, I'll leave this slide up on the board as you start working through the questions, so you can refer back to this. So I'll have this on the board for the first 5 minutes or so, and then I'll move over to sharing my screen with the questions after that. So let's just go and say for the circle on the left, we've got to work out the circumference and the area. And as you can see on this occasion, they've given us the radius. The radius is 6. So say we had to work out the circumference, start off by writing down the circumference formula. So C equals pi times D. C equals pi times D. I'm just waiting for that to come through on your screen. So circumference equals pi times diameter. Well, it will come through in a second. So be careful. We've been given the radius here. We need the diameter. So that's going to be pi times 12. Okay. All right. Pi times the diameter. Remember, the diameter of that first circle would be 12. We've been given the radius, which is 6. You double it for the 12. So go and put pi times 12 into your calculator. And just listen to this bit. That's going to give you 12 pi. You've then got to press the SD button to turn it into a decimal, okay? And then write down in your workings sort of a ... answer. So if you do pi times 12 equals, and then press the SD button, you get 37.69.
But I can't find it.
Well, I'll talk you through that when we finish this bit then. So as you can see in this question, we're rounding to 1 decimal place. So that would be 37.7. Remember, one decimal place means one number after the decimal point. So your answer for the circumference for that first second question would be 37.7. Now, circumference is a length, so if you were putting in the units, it would just be meters or centimeters or what have you. Now, area. So say we had to work out the area for this circle. Area is pi r squared. Well, we've been given the radius, which is 6, so it's going to be pi times 6 squared or pi times 6 times 6. So go and put that into your calculator. You'd get, and it's just come through on your screen in a little bit, you're going to get, so pi times 6 gives you 113.097 ... So to one decimal place, that would be 113.1. Now, area is the space inside the shape. It's two-dimensional. So the units are always like centimeters squared or meters squared or millimeters squared. So meters squared. Now, moving over to the circle on the right, as you can see on this occasion, we've been given the diameter, okay, the length all the way across. So working out the circumference, C equals pi times the diameter. Cottage pie is delicious. We've been given the diameter, so this is just pi times 20. Pop that into your calculator, press the SD button, you get 62.83 ... which is 62.8 to one decimal place, and centimeters as it's a length. And then finally the area, pi r squared. So we need the radius to use the area formally. We've been given the diameter, so we have to halve that diameter to get the radius, which is 10. Then pi times 10 times 10. Remember, r squared means r times r, so 10 times 10 gives us 314.159 ... So 314.2 meters squared to one decimal place. So what I'll do, I just want to stop the recording as a first before I start helping people, just so we keep the recording nice and sort of uncluttered. So just wait for me to stop the recording.